Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we are 2 rounds down for our matches here on day 2 at the Super Series. And before the break, we saw a big result and a big shift potentially in the league table as Tony Hood got the better of Ben Robb by 4 legs to 3. That is now 2 defeats and 2 for the Kiwi, because Steve West got the better of him in the big table topping match at the beginning of the day by 4 legs to 1. West, who really has come out the tracks flying here on Tuesday at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, sealing the match with a 1-10 finish and a really good display and a real nice show of sportsmanship at the end of that one as well. So 2 wins for Steve West in that one, and well, as you can see there, 4 of our 6 games have gone the distance as well. So that is what we've seen so far today. Let's have a look and see how it correlates in terms of the table, because as you can see, Steve West now tops the pile, 10 points to his name. Ben Robb and Jeffrey de Graaf on 8 points, respectively. Simon Adams and Tony Wood on 6. Marco Cantella down at the bottom on 4. But as you can see there, Jeffrey de Graaf on 8 points, and he takes on Steve West in our 7th game of the session. So a win for de Graaf would mean that him and West would be level on 10 points, and would open up the opportunity once again for Ben Robb to move with a 3-way tie at the top of the table. Well, you saw in that VT just before we came back on air was Steve West 9 darter, and he has promised us in the Everbay if he goes back-to-back 180s, he's going to hit the 9. No pressure, Steve. Back we go to Matt and Chris.
Thanks, Henry. And thank you for confirming that on the back of the collar of Tony Wood is the actual date he produced the 9 darter in the ADC. Well, when Steve West missed the double for the 9, he promised that week that, don't worry, if I get another go, I'll hit it.
First leg, it's Jeffrey to throw
his word,
first.
but I don't think he'd be worrying about 9 darters here. Priority number 1, get the match won. Get the points on the board, stretch that lead, keep the pressure on the chasing field.
60.
And they went 5 to 6 each of 2, and there's been no shift, which I'm amazed by because of the winning start made by Steve West.
42.
So that will come back, and the commentator's curse will be alive and well as he has a nightmare. I'd have made him 4 to 7, 4 to 9 for this tie.
I would have gone banging between the 2, 8 to 15. I think that's about the mark, because Steve West today, 293 averages. And the concern for me still hangs over de Graaf in the fact that he missed 10 match darts across those 2 fixtures. Is he going to be able to cross the line against someone like 97. Steve West, who's going to restrict the amount of time he's going to get at those sort of opportunities?
99. 59. 100.
Using to squeeze the final dart in to leave himself on tops, and depending what kind of mood he's in, or maybe what de Graaf does here will
100.
reflect his approach at the 80, but it's normally tops.
60. Jeffrey, you require 124.
Change of plan there for Steve West.
Yeah, I think yesterday on a couple of occasions with 80 with 3 in hand, double 11.
102.
Good effort.
Steve, you require 20. $10.
First dart felt very
Jeffrey
safe there at the
22.
5-5. One more opportunity to hold on to his throat.
Game shot on the first leg, Jeffrey de Graaf.
Oh, that's a steal.
Second leg, it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Now, Steve has a half smile on his face there, but I don't think he's smiling in the same way that Simon Adams has been smiling throughout the day.
Definitely not.
60.
To avenge the defeat to Rob yesterday, a little earlier. You want to do the same here against
140.
the graph.
$100. $97.
One of de Graaf's better performances yesterday
121.
against Steve. With that 4-2 win, he averaged 92.16, couple of 180s, 50% on the doubles. Probably is enjoying the rhythm he
60.
gets playing Steve, because they're very similar. Too much dwell time when these two are on the hockey.
41.
Very inviting opening dart there for the angle of
100.
entry of Jeffrey de Graaf. He'll be disappointed to only get 100 from that one. But Steve West applying the pressure, a maximum visit on the 19s.
Jeffrey,
The second time today.
104.
This is for a breaker throw for de Graaf. Needs to find a treble. Doesn't do so. Steve West forcing the issue with his
41.
time restriction.
8. Game shot on the second leg. Steve
Beautiful
West.
last 4 darts of that leg from Steve West. Perfection.
Yeah, no double trouble this time for Westy. Should be 2-0
Third
up,
leg, it's Jeffrey to throw first.
as it is.
Game on.
On throw.
78. $140.
I like the way Steve said, if I get the first 2 180s, then I might do it. Like, I'm going to make a prediction very similar to that. Actually, I'm going to be quite bold. I'm going to say,
100.
if I get the first 8 darts in, I'm going to hit the double 12. So it's all on the first day. If they go in, I'm on.
And that's the only
131.
time you're truly on a 9, isn't it?
Well, you always get people don't go, oh, I've missed a 9 dart. Well, essentially, you've missed a 9 dart from the moment you miss your first treble 20.
84. $135.
Steve West surge here.
59. Steve, you
Possible
require
11 darter.
95. $55. $83. Steve, you require 40. Game shot on the third leg, Steve West.
Nice finishing again there from Steve West. And that gives him the breaker throw there against Jeffrey de Graaf that he'd have to have found at some point
Fourth
in this
leg, it's
fixture.
Steve to throw first.
Is this the moment
Game
now
on.
where Steve West is going to open up a gap on the legs board? Because he's opened up a gap in terms of the averages.
60.
Steve West averaging 95 to the 79 of de Graaf.
Yeah, if that stays the same,
100.
he won't win it.
The big 180 hitter yesterday, Steve West, the biggest of them all, hit 11 maximums across the day. He's got 2 in this fixture. He's already hit 3
140.
in his other fixtures so far. So running at 16 maximums already, and this is only fixture number 8.
140.
Up the max with a 140 to leave.
85. Steve, you
The
require
1-2-1. May go
121.
bull first. I like that play. That's class.
81. $100. Steve, you require
13 darter
40.
on the card.
Game shot on
For
the
the man
fourth leg. Steve
who
West.
doesn't have a tour card, but believes he's one of the best players in the world without one, and it's hard to argue against that. And when we look
Fifth
at the
leg,
journey
it's
and the
Jeffrey to
story
throw
of
first.
Steve West, it's
Game on.
quite possible to think he may never have one again. Steve West, now aged 48, we know he's due to have hip surgery in the next
96.
week, which means Q school's probably going to come too soon, which means next year, when that decision needs to be made, he's going to be 49, 1 year shy of the age of the seniors.
Yeah, which is something that is continuing to grow and could
58.
become seriously established as a very viable option to players who are around that age. Well, what did he say about the 9?
I'll remind you, he says, if I hit 2 180s, I promise you I will hit the 9 darter.
Steve, you
We've had
require
180. We've had 180. Will we get the 141? Will the promise come true? Double 12.
Game shot.
As if
And the match.
Steve
Steve
West has won the match with a 9 dart finish. He points up to Henry Deacon, who he told he will hit the 141 if he hits the 2 180s. What a way to win the match. Steve West, a 9 dart finish, 108 the average.